I'm curious when you were working at the Smyrna beat for the DNJ. Do you remember any of the big stories you got to cover?
Oh, buddy, the biggest one. I was there 9/11. I remember that day I had one class at MTSU. It was foreign relations, if you can imagine that.
Yeah,
And
on that day in particular, right?
yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I got a call from my editor, and he said, "Hey, get in here, get into the newsroom. You're not a student today. You know, we need all hands on deck." I covered the airport there in Smyrna. They were getting ready for the big air show that they do in Smyrna. They still do that?
They sure do.
Red Baron, open cockpit, those old looking planes. So those guys they'd flown in earlier that week to get ready for the air show that weekend. And they've got a big tent and they've got pizza ovens out, and so they're getting ready for a lot of hospitality. And of course, FAA, they downed every plane, put everything on the ground. These guys, they're all watching the news. They pulled a television out on the runway. They're making pizzas. They're out there, having tequila shots and stuff, watching this thing because they weren't going anywhere for a long time. And just the sadness that thing, but they were like, I can't believe this happens. I know I was in that newsroom or out in the field for 12 hours, 14 hours that day. And we put out a newspaper that next day that I was really proud of. There was a triple homicide at the Captain D
Correct.
in Smyrna. And I had covered a lot of that. I was 19 years old and, covering this stuff. I've done some writing and covered a few things, but never handed over a beat of an entire city and said, hey, go get it,
And you're right. The Captain D's murders that were there, that was one of the biggest stories probably of that decade there.